This is episode 43, a solo episode with me, Tiffany Hinton, and we're going to be talking about garden planning and why to start planning in December for a garden that you're going to plant in the spring today on Cultivating Guts. Hello, it's Tiffany, and welcome back to Cultivating Guts, a place where we discuss gardening, homesteading, gut health, and following our intuition. I'm so excited to be back with you guys, and I've had so many insightful moments and ideas, and it's just like there's been a lot. I had to take a trip for work, and then I was in the office, and I wasn't at home, and I actually posted this morning on Instagram, like, I'm just glad to be home doing chores, and most people would find that very crazy, or weird maybe, right? But I am weird, and I acknowledge that. But it was nice to go out this morning, see the chickens when they woke up, take care of clean their water, do their fresh water, like just hang out with them for a few. And it was, I don't know, it's a dose of serotonin is what one of my girls say. And it's true. When you touch an animal or you hold an animal, it's a dose of serotonin. So that was pretty cool to see. Today on the podcast, we are talking about garden planning. This is what we covered yesterday in the Little Witch's Moon Gardening School. And we covered it yesterday with the kids from a perspective that they could think about. And they started to think about, what do they like to eat? What are they wanting to plant? And what does that look like if they lay it out on graph paper? And what does that look like in a vision board, like a garden board? If you cut out pictures from a seed catalog, and what do those different plants look like that you want to grow and that you like to eat? And in January, we're going to be planting seeds with the Little Witch's Moon Gardening Club. So we'll talk more about that at the end of the show. So stay tuned if you've got kids and you're interested in getting them interested in gardening or just learning some of those skills that are life skills, right? They're sustainable skills and they last their whole lifetime. So if you are watching us on Spotify or YouTube, hello. We are live video recording for you. So you'll be able to see what I'm doing in video if you want to check it out on one of those platforms. And if you're on iTunes, hang on, listen, it'll still make sense even if you can't see it. And if you've never seen a video and you want to check it out, hop over to YouTube. Our channel is youtube.com/Tiffany Hinton. And you can tune in there and you can kind of hang out with me, realize I have no makeup on. I'm sitting in a shirt that says it's just a phase with all the moon phases on it, and a sweatshirt from my husband gave me from the corporate office. And it's a comfy Sunday. So if you're listening to this at home, feel free to like curl up on the couch and grab a blankie, grab a notepad, take some notes and, or your journal, and let's just hang out together, because there is no reason, unless you're headed out of the house, to get all uber dressed up, right? Just yoga clothes, good t-shirt, and a sweatshirt, and we can hang out and have a conversation about gardening and planning for the new season. So before we get started, I do want to ask if you could do me a huge favor and subscribe and rate our podcast, Cultivating Guts. Send me a screenshot of that review, and I will send you our 4-day Hacking Your Health Gut Detox Plan. Come January, we're not going to be handing out the 4-day Hacking Your Detox Plan. We're going to be changing up. We're going full gardening, so we'll have a new freebie for you as well. And also, if you want to download our holiday shopping list, I know this is still the holiday season, and you are a gardener or you're interested in what to buy a gardener, tune into one of our previous podcast episodes there. But that holiday shopping list can also be found at www.cultivatingguts.com, our new website. I love reposting, so if you find a favorite part of this podcast, go ahead and screenshot it as you're listening or you're watching. Post that on Instagram at I am Tiffany Hinton, and I will get that reposted. Love to repost. And you guys, with that, let's hear from our sponsor of the show today, Non-Disclosure Apparel. Today's podcast is sponsored by Non-Disclosure Apparel. If you've been listening to the podcast for a while, you have heard my infomercial for Non-Disclosure Apparel. You know it's my everyday go-to bra, and we have some new, fun, and amazing stuff from Non-Disclosure Apparel. Not only are they in the gift guide, so check out our brand new article in November's Natural Awakenings magazine online or in print, and you'll see an article around Non-Disclosure Apparel, and I sat down and interviewed Becky Connolly, the owner. They're also my farming bra, my workout bra, my yoga bra, my clean the house bra, my I just want to sit around and read a book bra. And it's just, they're comfortable and they hide your nipples and they just fit so perfectly. And so our podcast sponsor today is giving you a free gift of 15% off, and the code is Tiffany for 15. Tiffany 15 will get you the 15% off your purchase, and you can check out that link below and where to order in our show notes. So thank you, Nand. All right, welcome back to Cultivating Guts. Are you guys ready to get your garden planning on? This is an exciting topic for me. So a lot of people end of the year do reflection, right? You look at your goals, you look at your budget, and you decide where things went well, where things didn't go so well, what changes you might need to make. And definitely I do that. But I also look at the garden and I say, what went well? What didn't grow so well? Me and Frankie were talking about that yesterday. Brussels sprouts, we've tried 2 years in a row. We have never got a Brussels sprout. So I don't think we're going to try that again. I don't think they want to grow in our yard, in our soil. I think we're done with the Brussels sprouts. But doing some reflection, and also then planning for the next season starts now, right? You can get seed catalogs. If you need links for seed catalogs, check out our Instagram bio link. We'll put some links also in the show notes. I should make myself a note that we're going to put seed catalog links in the show notes. So let me write that down while we're talking as well. I cleared my desk off yesterday for the Little Witches Moon Gardening Club so that kids weren't wanting to do random things, and also so that we could use the table that my desk is on for a snack. And now there's no ink pen. So I'll just remember seed catalogs, right? So when you get the show notes, you can order some free seed catalogs. But it is that time to order seed catalogs from all your different favorite companies. Couple of them that I like to order from, and I've ordered from for the last few years, are Jung Seed out of Wisconsin. Definitely within our zone. Midwestern, those crops go really good there. Johnny's, I like their seed starter soil, so I will order a huge bag of this. It's like 50-pound bag of seed starter soil. They also have some great seeds. They have some other fun tools. And then I found this company last year. It's called Pine Tree. And they have a lot of herbs and a lot of European plants that I was looking for medicinal properties or herbal properties or to make tea with. So those are kind of my 3 this year that I'm going to be ordering from. And those orders are going to get kind of put together probably this week. Get a good list. I have a list from yesterday from the Little Witches Moon Gardening Club of what the kids had kind of said. These are the things we want to grow. These are what they look like. I've got pictures of boards. Maybe you'll see some of that on Instagram this week. And so it is that time to get your seed list together and to get those seed orders started, because with the pandemic, it was interesting. A lot of this gardening had kind of fallen out of trend, right? It had fallen out of trend. Let's talk about that for a minute. I mean, this is my podcast. We can divulge, we can dig in deep, we can get off topic for a minute and then resurface our topic. But like Depression, 1920s, 1930s, 1940s, right? Even so, let's start. Great Depression in America. You were probably, depending on where you lived and your family, not having a lot of money. So you had to figure out how to make things last, how to barter, how to trade. A lot of growing your own food. A lot of people, if they were seed saving, so that they could replant the next year. And if they had the ability, they were expanding the size of what they plotted in their ground to have more food so that they could help feed neighbors, but also so they could sell it or they could barter it, right? Then we get into World War I. That was previous to the Great Depression. Hold on. World War II and Victory Gardens, right? Victory Gardens came around. And what was the idea with a Victory Garden? The Victory Garden was because we were on rations. There wasn't a lot of industrial manufacturing happening at that point because we were manufacturing weapons and things for the war and uniforms and, right? And a lot of the factories kind of shifted their focus. And so the idea was to plant a Victory Garden to grow your own food. And so there were advertisements on Victory Gardens and there were things happening and you needed to grow your own food. And so 1940s, 1950s, I would even say 1960s, gardening was a huge thing. 1970s, you get into a lot of industrial farming, right? Big corn crops, big bean crops, big crops, large fields, big tractors, 24-row, planters, huge combines that take up both sides of the road, like big equipment, right? And you didn't necessarily have to grow your own food because it was available pretty readily at the grocery store. And it was available easily, and it was not super expensive. And there wasn't a lot of labor that you had to do to go get the food. You just drove to the store, picked it up off the fruit market or the veggie counter, and you were good to go. And you weren't out there weeding and tilling and breaking ground and doing it all yourself unless you enjoyed that or you needed to for a financial reason, right? And then we kind of get into the pandemic, and people kind of freaked out, right? There was a lot of fear. There was some people being scared. And so they bought food in mass quantities. Some of the factories couldn't produce food. We had some shutdowns happening. And food distribution channels got interrupted. You also then kind of, during the pandemic, were not really wanting to leave your house a lot for whatever reason. And gardening became kind of trendy. Gardening was like, let's go back to our roots. It's a way to get outside. It's a way to grow my own food because they don't have it available at the grocery store, or I can't get to the grocery store, or whatever was going on. And so gardening kind of popped back up about 3 years ago. So gardening pops back up and it's trendy and people are trying to figure out how to do it. And if you've ever heard like the beginning episodes of Cultivating Guts, you find out that I have friends that realize that I grew up gardening in the Midwest, grew up, out on the farm and in the city and at my grandparents. And it was just second nature. And we'd been gardening in the suburbs for 10, actually 12 years and hadn't been boastful about it or anything. It was just kind of my thing to do, my way to release stress, my way to have alone time, my way to listen to audiobooks and other podcasts and just be in nature. I am so much an earth person and I need earth as much as I need the ocean. It's so interesting how my body needs both to be in balance. And whether it's out there in the bare feet or it's out there like it's the hands or whatever. And I had people calling me saying, hey, I need you to help me garden. I need you to help me figure this out. I need this. I need that. And so that was the kind of the transition into Cultivating Guts. But it's just fully grown from there. And so garden planning is just like planning in your calendar. And as much as gardening's trendy, it doesn't have to be trendy. It can just be a way of life. You can grow the food you love. You can grow things you just want to try. You can, it's an experiment and you can fail and it's okay. Like nobody's going to yell at you for failing. I mean, you might yell at yourself, but there isn't anything wrong with that. Food is not necessarily right now a huge scarcity in the late 2022, 2023. So you can grow what you enjoy. You can grow for, your neighbors or a trade, or you could run a CSA if you want to grow that much. Our hairdresser said, hey, when you're on mass market, I'm going to come buy vegetables. And I was like, mass market? I don't think we're growing for mass market. I'm like, my kids will be selling again at the driveway. And yesterday it was funny. We're in the Little Witches Moon Garden Club, and we had 2 new students join us. And their mom was so excited, and I was so excited to have them and just start to be able to teach them about growing their own food and how to garden and how to plan and how to think about it. And my daughter goes, yeah, when you have too much, you just set up a chair at the end of the driveway and your neighbors buy it from you and you make like $5 and sometimes you make like $100. And they're like, wait, what? And so her little entrepreneurial self was like, yeah, you just pick it and take it to the driveway and people pay you money. So Frankie was picking out food she knew the neighbors would like, that they would pay money for. That's kind of what was on her board yesterday. And then she was asking me, well, how much would it cost to get some of this in seed? And it's about $120 in seed. So she's looking for. And then she's like, I need 3 of my own garden beds. I was like, if you help build them, you can have them. So that's my thing with the girls whenever they really want something like that, whether it was the rabbit or they want, Josie wants a turtle right now and a dog. And it's like, if you will do the chores, you will help set up their habitat, build their house, whatever it is, build the garden bed, do the work. I'll help you, but you got to do it. Definitely will help you because it's a skill that they learn. They learn so much by taking care of animals and taking care of gardens and plants. Okay, so let's get on topic here. On topic, Tiffany. On topic. Planning your garden. Now, we do have a whole masterclass out there on our website. So if you go over to www.cultivatingguts.com, you're going to find a free webinar that you can listen to that was pre-recorded on garden planning. We have a masterclass on gardening with multiple modules as well. So if this is something you want more in depth than what we're going to cover on today's podcast, just go over there and grab one of those courses and you'll have everything you need and the downloadables that I'm going to kind of show you. Okay. All right. So when it comes to planting a garden, you need some seed catalogs. Whether you have a digital one or you hop on one of their websites and you put in your address and they mail it to you, you need some seed catalogs. These are important. You're going to need, I would say, you have some options here, right? If you download our masterclass, you're going to get this workbook, which has some great information in it and talks about gardening. And you can print it off yourself or, again, use it in digital, and it has a recipe at the end. So this is one of the workbooks that we have available through our class. I like to use graph paper. So if you're on the video, you're seeing I'm showing you graph paper. If you want, you could do like mommy and child garden planning. I think this is super cute. So I'm going to offer this coming. Actually, I should set this up today as a bundle, but email me if you want this as a bundle and we'll make a bundle deal for you. So if you get the Ultimate Green Witch Garden Planner, we have it printed. It's not, the final printing is not spiral. The proof was spiral. You can also get it digital and print it yourself at the office store. We have the kids version that goes with it. So you can get the Little Witch's Moon Garden Planner and the Adult Garden Planner. I'll get these out on the Etsy store where it's a bundle. And then you can plan together, right, with your child. And you guys can figure that out. And that'll be super fun. So what's the first step? Let's go back. What is the first step of planning this coming garden? If you had a garden last year, the first step is thinking about what grew well and what did not grow well. And I would say maybe that looks like making a list with 2 columns. Grew well, did not grow well, right? That, I think, would be the next thing. I have so many different pictures over the years. Okay. Then you have your list of what grew well, what did not grow well. The next thing to do is take your seed catalog, and I have done this multiple ways. I've taken a seed catalog with a red Sharpie, and I've went through page by page and circled stuff that looks interesting or stuff that I know I want to grow, okay? Or if I've had extra seed catalogs, I have taken scissors, cut them out, and glued them on a poster board, which is what the kids did yesterday because it makes it visual, and then you can continue to look at it. Like it's just like a dream board or a vision board, but it's for the garden and the plants you want in your garden or in your yard or growing in pots. So you could do either one. If you only have one seed catalog, I'd do the red Sharpie method, and I would circle just like you were a kid picking out holiday gifts in a Sears catalog, right? I would circle the things that look interesting to grow. If you have 2 catalogs, go ahead and cut them out and glue them on a board so you can kind of look at them and think about like, yeah or no, right? Okay. Then what you're going to want to do next, and I'm going to show you how this works. So if you're on the video, again, you can hop over to YouTube and see the video. Okay. What you're going to do next is you're going to go into your planner, your Ultimate Green Witch Garden Planner, and you're going to write your wish list. My wish list last year filled up all of the pages in the planner. You guys can hear me flipping, I'm sure, on the podcast. Filled up all of the pages in the planner. How many are there in here? I think there's 3 in the final version. There were 2 in the proof. I printed the proof. I used the proof last year. It was great. Okay, so you fill that out. Didn't have enough room. So then I filled out a sheet of graph paper with additional things I was going to order. So it says wish list on purpose. You take this wish list and you turn to the bullet journal or to the graph paper in the planner, which is immediately following the wish list. You turn the page and there are little squares. It's graph paper. You draw your garden. Draw the dimensions. If you need to get a tape measure and walk outside, go do it. It's much better to know your exact dimensions. Why? Because in 2020, actually 2021, I was just like, screw the dimensions. I just want it all. I want it all. We were still homebound. We were seeing a very few group of people. We had, we weren't, and I was like, I'm ordering all of it. I got all my seeds here. I got all my plants here. I didn't have enough space. I had to rip up grass, which is great now, but rip up other areas of our yard to plant things and even give some seeds away, which the neighbors loved, because I wanted it all and I didn't really think about it from a logistical point of view. And so the details matter a little bit, right? And I am not, we just did a business personality thing this week. And I am not a blue person. I'm not a green person. Imagine that. And so those details, as much as I like to ignore them, they really do matter when it comes to gardening. So in the journal, what I do is on the graph paper, I use 1 square for a half a foot and 2 squares for a full foot is how I do it. So I have a little bit of space. And so our potterage, I don't know if you guys can see this or not. It's 9 beds. Each bed is 4 by 8. So they're 24 square foot beds each times 9. It's a lot of room, right? And then the other page is the Hecate's garden and where the greenhouse and the garage are and all the herbal and medicinal and berries that grow there. And that's kind of mapped out. So you're going to map this out. If you have perennials, like my horseradish comes up every year. And God, I hope my strawberries, pray, my strawberries come back this year because the chickens found the strawberries very late season when there was nothing else and started eating them. So hopefully they'll come back. If not, we'll be replanting about 50 plants. So if you have perennials like asparagus, we have that as well. Mark where it comes back because you don't want to dig it out unless you want to move it. If you want to move it, then you could make a note as you're planning to dig that out at the appropriate time based on the moon cycle and move it somewhere else. But otherwise, mark where those grow. And then you're going to take your wish list and you're going to start to map it in the garden. Now, there's a couple of things to keep in mind, and the kids really picked up on this yesterday. In both the Little Witches Moon Gardening for Kids planner and the adult Ultimate Green Witch Garden planner, there is a page about friend and foes. Friend and foes. What are these? It's called companion planting. So there are certain plants that grow really, really well together, and you want to plant them together because they actually they benefit from each other. And then there are certain plants that do not grow well together, and if you plant them next to each other, you will not have a great crop. So you can plant corn and sweet peas, and the peas will climb the corn, right? Those are great companions. Carrots and potatoes do not go well together. It kind of makes sense. They both grow in the ground. They both need the nitrogen from the soil. You're not going to have a bumper crop if you put them in side by side or even in between each other. So you want to look at we call it friend and foes, right? You have friends that you love to grow next to each other and you have foes. You don't like those people. They're your frenemies, as I told the kids yesterday, and they kind of laughed at me. But it's the truth. So we were talking about peas. Peas will grow really, really well with carrots and cucumbers and radishes and potatoes and corn. Their foes are garlic and leeks and onions and shallots. So you don't want to grow those plants next to each other. So you want to look at that companion planting list, and it's inside both of our journals that we have available in our garden planners so that you can really map out how it fits. What you might also find is you've got a list of plants that didn't fit in your space that you already own or the space that you already have prepared. This is good to know right now in December. You know why? Because if you're going to have to expand and you get all those Amazon cardboard boxes, take those outside right now, put them over the space that you want to expand to so that when you're ready to plant outside in April and May, the grass is dead. A lot less work for you. So what you do there is you would, if you find out, oh my goodness, I need another 4 feet or I need another 8 feet or whatever it is, take your boxes. A lot of us are getting shipments for gifts and other things right now. Take your cardboard boxes, lay them on the section that you want. grab either some rocks, some heavy rocks to hold those down right now, or even better, if you have a chance, go get some organic mulch or organic compost, pour that over the cardboard because that'll start to break it down and create really good compost for spring for you to plant. And so you can do that now if you need to expand, and that's probably a good thing to know now. And this is another reason to plan now, not just to order the seeds, but to actually think about, do I have enough space? And get the space right. Get the space together. I know that I'm probably going to need to add 3 more raised beds to the back of our yard, back by the fruit trees and the berries, based on what Frankie's wanting to plant. And those get morning sun. They get a good lot of sun. We might have to figure out where to put the trampoline because we might need that space. We'll have to figure this out. But I got to talk to her about that as well. Okay, so now that you've got it mapped out, so you went through what grew well, what didn't grow well. You took 2 lists. You went through the seed catalog. You made your red circles or you cut them out. And then you put that on your wish list, right? It's on your wish list. When I write my wish list, I will write the company it's on, the item number. They most heavily have an item number, especially if you're going to order them off their website, the name of the plant, and the cost. So I can kind of look at budget, right? Last year, I think we added a lot of stuff. We added trees, we added greenhouses, we added heat mats and lights and a bunch of stuff. And so in looking at this, it was about $1,500 in items I added to the garden in the backyard. And is it worth it? Absolutely. I love it. It's my de-stressor. So instead of going on vacation or another vacation, we went plenty of places last year. I chose to spend some money on what was for me, and that was my garden. Okay. You can also, in your little map on your graph paper, or if you've got sidewalks or you've got paver stones, you can like draw where those are so you know. In looking at last year's picture, I had planned to put wormwood. That's actually where the rabbit hutch is. So, and the wormwood moved and the horehound didn't really grow very well. And I didn't put a peony in the backyard. And so there were some changes when I originally planned this. But there's a lot of stuff that actually is exactly like it is. Like we planted wisteria and the elderberry and the arona berries and the currants, and the composter got built. And so a lot of that is there. And a lot of those are perennials or berry bushes. So when I map this out, they are exactly where they're at. And I'll have to decide if I need to transplant or grow them. Okay. So you're done with the picture. What do you do next? Right? In your planning. So there's a couple of things you can do next. One is that you can do, like I said, check the budget, make sure the budget is right. And then you can start ordering. You can even order the plants because the seed catalogs and the seed companies don't ship you the plants until it's actually time to grow them or put them in the ground. Like they look at the weather patterns and they help you a little bit. So they're not going to send you some St. John's wort bare root unless it's actually time to put it in the ground. They're going to send you your seeds right away because we're going to want to start tomato seeds and some others in January, and we're going to start other seeds in February, right? And if you're going to get an indoor greenhouse, which they're like $40 sometimes on Amazon, so worth it. It's like, it looks like a storage rack with a tent over it, like a plastic tent. So worth it to help with humidity and the plants grow. And if you've got indoor pets, it helps them from not eating stuff. So you can get your indoor greenhouses all ordered and get all that stuff kind of set, ready to go, so you can plant in January. The other thing, if you're ready to kind of say, yeah, I'm ready to go, this is great, you can pull up the moon phase calendar for 2023 in your planner, even in your kids' planner, because the kids are going to learn how to do this. Starting with February, map out your moon phases. Map out your full moon and new moon and your moon phases. And then using the planner, we talk about moon phases and when to plant based on the first quarter moon, the second moon, the third quarter, and the fourth quarter moon, right? So you're waning and waxing moons, and you can start to map out from February, because there's 6 months in the planner, all the way through June. Is that right? You can actually go to July. And then you can map out also, if you go to Farmer's Almanac for 2023, you should be able to find the last frost date predicted, and you can map out your weekends. This is helpful in planning so that you don't accidentally plan to go somewhere when you really should be putting plants in the ground, or you should be planting potatoes or something like that. It helps me with scheduling as well. Not that, so I know like, oh, this week is such and such. I need to make sure that I have an hour to go out and put compost on everything, or I need an hour to fertilize all the blueberry and raspberry and currant bushes, right? And so I start to map out, just like I would my annual calendar, my calendar based on moon phases, starting in February, like I said, for planting, transplanting, getting the ground ready, cultivating, and all of that stuff. So again, if you've got questions, send me an email. It's Tiffany@cultivatingguts.com. We can schedule a consultation. We can do some garden coaching. Those are always super fun to do. And if you're wanting to get some of the materials that I talked about, www.cultivatingguts.com. You can download PDFs. We'll get the bundles up on Etsy. Those will be available. And if you actually need to walk through this again, listen to the podcast again, or check out one of our online courses on our website. All right, you guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Share with me what your favorite part was. Share with me when you're going to try, or even when you plan to plan your garden. Like, throw an Instagram story up and say, garden planning day is, December 16th, and tag me on it. It would be so fun to see when everybody is going to sit down for like an hour and just do their garden planning. Let me know again if you've got any questions. I'm here for you, and I'm excited to see what you grow this season. Satnam, love you guys. So if you enjoyed this episode, remember to share it with your friends. If there's anybody out there that's new to gardening, maybe drop them the link as well. Give them some information. And to get our brand new Ultimate Greenwich Garden Planner, you can find it on Amazon in printed form, or you can find it over on our website as a digital. And like I said, I'll get that up on our Etsy store, which is Lily and the Greenwich. So if you want to check out our Etsy shop, that is Lily and the Greenwich. And we have everything you need to get going and growing on our website, www.cultivatingguts.com. In our January Little Witches Moon Gardening Club, the kids are going to start their first set of seeds. They're going to learn about soil moisture and seed trays and heat mats and all of that stuff. And so if you're in the Chicago area or even the Milwaukee area, and we're a short drive for you, less than an hour, to come down for a 2.5 hour, our classes for the kids, our garden club nature school runs 2.5 hours. They get to interact with not only plants and gardening, but also with chickens and with our rabbits and other farm animals. They get a chance to play some music and just have some fun and meet some other kids and grow a community of like-minded children that are intuitive and also in touch with nature. And I'm so excited just to see the kids have fun every time. It's so, so enjoyable just to see them, and it just fills my heart. So details to sign up for the January class are available as well on our website, www.cultivatingguts.com.